for this. Jesus tells us to study Antiochus Epiphanes. He does? He does. I'm going to show you. Jesus tells us to study Antiochus Epiphanes so that we have a better understanding of the coming Antichrist. We know what to expect. Antiochus Epiphanes, the fourth, was a direct prophecy, a direct parallel, a direct type to the coming Antichrist, only not as bad. And once we're done here tonight, you're going to wonder, how can it get any worse? Oh, it'll get worse. Then 4 great beasts, each different from one another, came up out of the sea. They're all Gentiles. You are the head of gold. Babylon's the first kingdom. The head of gold, pure metal, most valuable metal. Also, the way God sees it, a beast, a lion with wings. Wings of an eagle are plucked off, insanity, humiliation. He's given the heart of a man. He accepted Yahweh's authority and sovereignty. Next up, to take the place of Babylon in 539 BC, Medo-Persia, represented by a lesser metal, silver, stronger but not worth as much. 2 arms, there are 2 tribes. A bear raised up higher on one side because the Persians were more powerful than the Medes. The second beast was like a bear. One side was raised up higher than the other, and it had 3 ribs in its mouth. What are the 3 countries that Medo-Persia captured in its conquest? Lydia, Babylon, Egypt. Lydia, if that's how you say it, that's Western Turkey today. Okay. A third kingdom of bronze, Alexander the Great. This is the one we're really interested in for tonight, because this is where eventually the prophecy of the Antichrist comes from the Greek Empire. A third kingdom of bronze, stronger metal, but not worth as much as silver or gold. Represented by the leopard. Why the leopard? I told you last week, it's like the perfect cat. And 4 heads because he had 4 generals, 4 wings because of the speed. At the age of 20, he became king. At the age of 24, he had conquered basically the entire civilized world. Age of 32, he was dead. So he had 4 heads, Alexander's 4 generals. Here they are. This one here, I don't really know how you say that word, Seleucus? I don't know. We'll just mispronounce it together. Seleucus? We're just mispronounce it together. How about that? So whenever you hear me say Seleucus or Seleucus, you'll know that I'm talking about that general, the 3rd general of Alexander the Great, who took over Egypt, Palestine, Cilicia, Petra, and Cyprus. That's the one we're interested in. The 4 generals of Alexander. He's going to have some men. He's going to have people come after him. He's going to have some people come after him in the generations. He's going to have some people come after him in the generations. He's going to have some people come after him. We're interested in the 8th. Number 8 in the line of Seleucus. Number 8 is going to be a new beginning for Israel. Because even though he's a madman, and even though he's an antichrist, it's through him that Israel's going to receive their new beginning. He's the 8th in their line. I'll show you the succession. Okay, that's what we're interested in. Then, of course, after that, the 4th beast will be as strong as iron. A long time later, Roman Constantinople, Istanbul, iron, domination. 2 sides, 2 long legs, Roman Constantinople, or today they call it Istanbul. It was Byzantium, I think they called it, before they called it Istanbul. Okay. And finally, the toes, the 5 toes, which is the final empire, the Antichrist. At the end of time, these kingdoms will kind of slowly merge into the 5-nation coalition that we'll see forming, kind of like the European Union, but it'll be around the horseshoe of northern Africa, the Middle East, and southern Europe. It'll kind of be, kind of, in the same footprint as the old Assyrian Empire. That's where the Bible tells us over and over again that the Antichrist will come from, the Assyrian Empire. Did I just pass by something? Okay. It had 10 horns, 10 toes, 10 crowns. There's 10 toes, there's 10 horns. But in these toes, another one pops up. In between these horns, another one pops up. That kingdom, once Rome and Constantinople has run its course, and we're in the end times, and all of a sudden the church has been raptured, and now they're trying to form new governments and new rule. That kingdom will be a divided kingdom, just as you have the clay and the iron. That kingdom will be a divided kingdom, and just as you saw the iron mixed with the ceramic clay, the two will intermingle and interbreed in an attempt to bring solidarity and togetherness. But they will not adhere to one another, just as iron and clay do not adhere to one another. Basically, you're going to have a humanistic, secular government, and then it's going to mix with Islam. Whenever the church goes away, Islam will want to dominate. They're not quite big enough or strong enough to really do that. So guess what they're going to try to do? They're going to try to mix with pre-existing secularistic governments. How is a secularistic government going to do with the theocratic desires of Islam? They'll try all kinds of crazy things to make it work, but guess what? It's not going to work. It's not going to work. But the saints of the Most High will receive the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever and ever. So we can understand better this guy that we're about to study. This is a description of the Antichrist. Then I asked about the meaning of the fourth beast, which was different from the other beasts, which was utterly terrifying and extremely powerful, which had huge iron teeth and bronze nails that it used to break to pieces and devour its enemies, and that trampled underfoot anything that managed to escape. I also asked about the meaning of the 10 horns on its head, and especially about the little horn that emerged. So here comes this beast. It's got these 10 finally, and then emerges another little horn, which had no eyes and a mouth speaking extremely boastful things, whose appearance was greater than the others, and before whom 3 of the original horns fell. If there were a total of 10 horns, and then he comes up, that makes 11. But then 3 are subjugated to him. That makes a total of 8. Again, we see a number 8 pop up here. Isn't that strange? The Bible is like this. It has common threads going through the entire thing. That same little horn that I saw wage war against the saints and prevail against them until the Ancient of Days came and pronounced judgment in favor of the saints of the Most High. And the time came for the saints to possess the kingdom. That's the millennial reign of Jesus Christ. That's what he's talking about there. So he explained to me, the fourth beast represents a fourth kingdom that will rise to power on the earth. It will be different from any of the other kingdoms. It will devour the whole earth, trampling it down, breaking it to pieces. The 10 horns that come out of this kingdom are 10 kings that will arise to power. They're 10 kings that will arise. It's future. Then another king will rise to power after them. After them. He will be different from the original 10, and he will subdue 3 of the kings, taking us to 8. Now, that's Daniel chapter 7, what we studied last week. We have to know this for tonight. This is the same story from Revelation. The 10 horns are 10 kings that have not yet received their respective kingdoms. They will receive power as kings along with the beast for 1 hour. They are all of one mind, and they will relinquish their power and authority to the beast. They will wage war against the Lamb, but the Lamb will overcome them because he is Lord of lords and King of kings. Those who are with the Lamb are called, what's God's calling? Irrevocable. Romans 11:29. God's gifts and calling are irrevocable. Can you lose your salvation?
No.
No. Because Romans 8:29 and 30 says, all that he foreknew. To understand what foreknew means, you need to go to 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 2, which says, chosen by the foreknowledge of God. Then you have to go to 2 Thessalonians 2:13, where it says, we are bound to give thanks for you, brothers, beloved of the Lord, because God has chosen you for salvation from before the world began through faith in the truth. How does God choose you by his foreknowledge for salvation? Does he make your decisions for you? I thought we had free will. We have absolute free will. But guess what? God is God. He knows what you're going to choose. If he knew from before time began that you were going to put your faith in Jesus Christ, guess what? Romans 8, now we can return to Romans 8:29 and 30. He says, Those he foreknew, he predestined. Those he predestined, he called. His calling is irrevocable, Romans 11:29. Those he called, he justified. Those he justified, he glorified. The only reason you're going to be glorified one day is because God justified you, declared you innocent, he saved you. The only reason that God's going to justify you is because he called you to himself. The only reason God called you is because he had already predestined you. The only reason that God predestined you is because he foreknew you as a person of faith. That's Romans 8:29 and 30. That theme is all throughout the Bible. All throughout the Bible. Again, I ask, if God predestined your salvation, can you lose it? Who here? Hey, we lost the battery. Didn't that happen last week? 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. It seems like, well, that lasted 2 weeks then. That's not bad.